Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Morgan Ravenberg here again. It's live streaming time again. Live stream number 42. In this live stream, I'm simply going to discuss miscellaneous things and my birthday. I celebrate my birthday, as most of you know, the day before yesterday. It's also when Eric Anderson is online. Hello, Eric. It's also when I uploaded my birthday video, that short video. I've got three people watching this live stream, and I just felt like talking about miscellaneous things because there's also something less pleasant that happened, and it got me thinking over miscellaneous things. In any case, the place was beautiful. Like I said, place is a local resort, but it's maintained by the Dutch or by Europeans in any case, and that's the reason it's so nice looking and so organized, etc. And yeah, I went there. Of course, I went alone, which I prefer. Place was very peaceful, very tranquil, etc. You name it. Place was great. That's also why it is the thumbnail for this live stream. Yeah, it serves as a thumbnail for this live stream. And yeah, I just walked around the place. I had dinner there. I just enjoyed I just enjoyed myself overall. Just being there was peaceful in itself, and I like those tiny huts that they had. They have these cabanas, they call them. That's spelled Cabanas. Cabanas, and everything was just nice, you know. Everything was nice overall. Being in the cabana during the day, I stayed for the most part just in my cabana. Being in the cabana honestly was better than being outside, at least during the day, because the thing is that during the day it was ridiculously hot as always. I think it was what 38 degrees or something, so I stayed inside. But even with the air conditioner on full blast, it still wasn't all too pleasant. It wasn't all too cold inside. Otherwise, I'd have to stand directly in front of the air conditioner, and even then, it's still it was still an issue. Okay, it was still a huge problem. Night, things were the most pleasant at night or during nighttime because the cabana isn't a large cabana. It just consists of a bedroom and a bathroom. But honestly, the place was so cozy. I thought to myself, I could easily live in one of these for the rest of my life, easily, if need be, or if that had to be the case. Eric Anderson is asking me if something bad happened. Not bad in a relative sense, okay. But in any case, um, and how the place works is that you're supposed to cross the river with a boat, and then you've arrived in the spot itself, and then the opposite, of course, you'll be leaving by boat, and you can call a cab at the harbor in order to pick you up and drive you back into town, which is what I did. Um, so yeah, definitely staying there the night was refreshing because it gets really cold at night inside, and I just loved it. For the rest, I just soaked up the place, and it was very relaxing and everything. You know, it was just relaxing like no other. So yeah, it it was just tops. It wasn't my first time going there, but it was definitely my it wasn't my first time going there, but it was definitely the first time that I stayed there. I think renting a cabana is 60 euros a night. So if you want to stay a night, it's 60 euros, and it includes breakfast. For the rest, you'll have to pay for it yourself, which is no problem, of course, too. But not that I was interested in any of the other tours. Yeah, but in any case, that was pretty much it. And something that wasn't as pleasant happened to the following day. Long story short, I had a friend that worked for me. He was arguably my best friend, and I just broke off contact with him because he asked me to work for him. I mean, he asked me whether he could work for me, So him working for me, just driving me around as a cab driver instead of other things. And we came to an agreement, and I told him, yeah, listen, okay, these are things that you're going to have to pay attention to because he's not the most of, to say that he's not the most of responsible people, and that he is punctual and that he is a good communicator are understatements. I mean, I don't have to say anything, okay? Most of you out there know what people in third world countries are like. They People in third world countries, they lack proper etiquette, basic manners in the sense of communicating properly with each other and communicating properly with each other and being punctual. You know, tell them to show up at 8 and they'll show up at 10 or half past 8. It's just abysmal all around. But in any case, I had already gone through all of these things with him, and I told him, listen, when you start working for me, I pay your income, so I come first. Understand that. So if there's something personal and I call you, I'm not unreasonable in the sense that you need to drop it right away, but keep in mind that you need to be here as quickly as possible. And for the rest, he also has the bad habit of not picking up his phone when someone calls him or not replying when someone messages him. I also told him, listen, when I call you, you're supposed to pick up. Understand that too. And when I tell you to show up somewhere, you better be there on time. And he had difficulty with performing all of these, but it had happened 2 or 3 times. But he was supposed to pick me up at the harbor the day after. You know, I had stayed at that resort, and that was the last straw for me. For me, the only reason that I didn't yell at him or anything was because we were friends up to that point. But while I was on the boat, okay, I tried calling him because I wanted to know exactly where he was and you know how late I can expect him here. And I called him 3 to 4 times and he's not picking up. And I told him, I sent him a text message and he told me his excuse was he's in traffic and he's not going to pick up. Okay, he can't pick up when he's in traffic. And again, that's just a pathetic excuse because you can pick up, but you're able to send text messages, but you're not able to pick up your phone. That's point one. Point two, you can't just go step alongside the road. I mean, you can't just stop alongside the road. I mean, to just pick up. This was just a sad excuse, and for me, it was the drop in the bucket. Okay, and I told him, listen, you working for me is not going to happen. It's not working out. And not only did he stop working for me, I also told him because he was already there at the harbor, and I told him, "Now you can leave." And I simply took another cab, and I simply broke off contact with him. End of story. So we're no longer friends. Not only is he not working for me anymore, but we're no longer friends. And truth be told, I don't want to be friends with someone like that, someone that doesn't meet my standards, so to speak. I'm not saying that this was a bad idea, having a friend work for me, but it the lack of knowing how you're supposed to behave is outright or downright offensive. That's why on the one hand, I used to be of the opinion that employers, not just locally, on a global level, employers should treat their employees better. But on the other hand, I also understand because employees, a lot of the times, especially when it comes to cheap labor or work that is like an assembly line, they don't deserve a proper treatment. They don't deserve these employees. They bring all of their misery upon themselves. They don't deserve to be treated properly and they don't deserve anything. Okay, so you shouldn't be good to them. So I do understand employers on the one hand. I understand businesses. You simply need to be a hard ass. And for that former friend of mine, as far as I'm concerned, he can go bust his ass again for minimum wage somewhere and go sit in an office 8 hours a day or whatever the hell he wants to do. But nah, I am not. He's not getting any support from me or anything like that whatsoever. I mean, bluntly put, he can go fuck himself. Honestly, I'm just completely calm and cool about it. You know, I don't feel anything. I don't feel regret. I don't feel anything. Okay, I had already broken off contact with him a couple of years ago for approximately the same reasons. And then in the beginning of this year, I reconnected with him when I, by coincidence, happened to see him. But nah, I am not someone that tolerates bullshit like that. Rick Anderson the same. So yeah, that's something less pleasant that happened, but only in theory because it doesn't even bother me in the slightest. I mean, it's ridiculous. I had already spoken to it. I already spoke to a couple of people about it, and they all say, "Nah, this is just nah." He had something else in mind. He just thought to himself that he could perhaps work multiple jobs or something, and that working for you was going to be a walk in the park. But and he didn't take it seriously. Honestly, it doesn't matter to me. And yeah, that's also one of the many reasons why I'm a hard ass now. I've been more than generous in the past, but at this point, honestly, if I let's just say metaphorically speaking, I had too much money. The things that I did with that money, I would much rather throw it away than give it to someone because parasites don't deserve anything. They don't deserve any kind of treatment. Honestly, all the stuff that I had, let's just instead of just, I don't even want to donate it to Goodwill. I'm not gonna lie to you. I just want to throw everything away, and it's even throwing it away is better than giving it to someone local. And I don't know, maybe even someone on a global level, because mankind is ungrateful. You'll always have that, but I've already done so much for people, and I've already been so generous. So no, I already said to myself a couple of weeks ago, I'm gonna be ridiculously tight from now on and strict, and I'm gonna be a hard ass. No more Mr. Nice Guy and so on. And that's exactly what I did, and the way I am now. No more leaving change or tipping people in restaurants and so on because a tip isn't mandatory. No, 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 none of that. Even if it's a dollar, I want my dollar. And for the rest, now all the stuff that I have, or even if I just have excess money, I'd much rather burn it or crumple it up and throw it away than give it to someone. Because the kind of people that you come across is like a panhandler or a hobo, a homeless person that begs you for food, and then when you actually give him or her food, that person rejects it and says that he or she would rather have the money. I mean, that's enough to make you vomit. To be honest, that's just enough. That's just outright disgusting, and that's also why I don't give money to the homeless. I don't give the homeless anything. Mm-mm-mm. I don't give the homeless or anyone anything. No, 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 no. And I also honestly would advise the other people to adopt this attitude if you haven't already, because it's not, hmm, people are just ungrateful. I'm not disappointed or anything. And it's not like I'm just coming to this realization, but in my scenario or in my case, I honestly have been way too lenient and way too generous. And people have told me that in the past. And I had my own personal reasons for being that way back then. But yeah, that time is long over, or not long over, but that time is over. Period. So, and regarding him, it's also the same thing. Okay, I'd much rather be alone. I would much rather be alone than be with someone that doesn't meet my standards or someone that doesn't behave properly. If you know what I mean. So yeah, that's what my birthday was like. Um Eric Anderson says, "Give your money to someone who deserves it." Yeah, exactly. Someone who deserves it. But nah, I mean, you'll come across everything. You know what third world countries are like, okay? You'll come across this shit everywhere. You come across everything, all of this nonsense, unfortunately. Um, I'm thinking about another example that I can give someone. Another example that I can give is that people also have a tendency to overcharge you depending on the situation. For example, if people know that you've got money, then they'll automatically try to overcharge you instead of asking you for the actual amount for anything, cab fare, anything that you can think of. And I'm also not having any of it, okay, because I still have one or two people that are trying to overcharge me, and it stopped right there. It stopped right away, and I simply seek a cheap alternative without sacrificing quality or by sacrificing as little quality as possible. Yeah, bottom line is just that Bottom line is just that I've come to the realization. I've just really come to the realization of how ungrateful people are, and the more I think about it, the more it repulses me. And in any case, it's just like I said, no one is the nice guy. Okay, from now on, I'm gonna be a real hard ass, and I'm gonna be not from now on, from the moment I said now on, that which was 2 weeks ago up until this point. I'm gonna be a real hard ass. Okay, I am going to be strict as fuck. I am strict as fuck, and I'm gonna be greedy. I am greedy as fuck too. Okay, no. Just because I have the money doesn't mean that I'm going to blow it senselessly. And even if I were to blow it senselessly, I mean, the world is in such a deplorable state that literally throwing away money would be better than giving it to someone needy. It might sound harsh, but no, that's really it. And I don't know if anyone that's watching this remembers what I said a couple of live streams ago. It's okay if you're helping someone that is genuinely putting in an effort to help himself or herself. Someone who is genuinely trying their best to improve their own life or solve their own problems. But definitely, by no means should you ever help someone that does not want to be helped or that is not putting in any effort to help himself or not putting in enough effort, because that's a parasitic mentality. Don't help someone that doesn't deserve to be helped, because someone like that does not deserve to be helped, period. And yeah, that's just pretty much what I had to say on the matter. So yeah, for the rest, I'm not messing around. Um, of course I'm home again. Um, for the rest, there's nothing else really. Does anyone have any questions or anything that they want to get off their minds? And by the way, to everyone that has congratulated me, thanks for the birthday wishes, of course. So yeah, if anyone has any questions, then I'll hear about it. Another thing that I wanted to say is that regarding the occult giveaway, of course, I told people that that is no longer a thing, of course, with the exception of the fact that I might contact a couple of people in private to ask them if they still are interested in coming over here. But since I'm on this live stream, I'm going to tell people right away in case I'm contacting one of you, as in one of you who is watching this. I contact you and you guys are interested. Um, I contact you and you guys are interested. The guest bedroom is almost done. I think I'll also show people when it's done. But that is pretty much it. For the rest, I'm not sponsoring anyone anymore. So yeah, if you want to come over here, sure, no problem. But be prepared to set some money aside, and you're gonna have to buy your own plane tickets. That's it. Rick Anderson says, "What will I do if I win $100 million?" If I win $100 million, even if that were the case, which is unlikely, I wouldn't do anything. I would just spend the money on what I need and what I want, but not blow it away and piss it all away. No, thank you. A parasite does that, not me. So yeah, anyone have any other questions aside from that question, $1 million question? Oh, and another thing too. People that are visiting my website, in case you're one of the people that is visiting my website and you click on, for example, my web shop or something, and it gives you an error message or it simply says that the page doesn't exist. My web shop is regularly updated. So those links are old links, or that link is an old link. I simply found it too inconvenient to remove every link because I have too many links on my website on every article. So if you want to visit my web shop to see my prices, etc., 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 then just go to the home page and then look for my web shop in the sidebar. It's so obvious you can't see it. I mean, you can't miss it. It's so obvious that you can't miss it. Eric Anderson says, the only one in the chat. Yeah, unfortunately you are, but that's okay. I'm assuming the other people are either busy or they have something else on their mind or they just don't feel like chatting. Today's Saturday after all. My local time is 5:28. The rest is either preoccupied or busy or just absent. Doesn't matter. The show must go on. Uh, and another thing that I can also mention, tips that I want to give people is the same thing that I'm doing. Eric Anderson, your local time is 1:28 p.m. Okay. Things that I want to say, tips that I want to throw out there on that note based on what I just discussed. Just because you have money doesn't mean that you should blow it around. So my message would be to people would be to manage your money. I mean, manage your money. Seriously, don't blow your money on senseless things. Spend your money on things that you actually want and things that you actually need, but don't just buy a bunch of crappy stuff that you're not going to use. So yeah, that's just something to be aware of. That's simply something that you need to think, that you need to be aware of, and you need to think about. Otherwise, it's not gonna work. Okay, and also set something aside for as a rainy day fund in case you run into financial trouble or otherwise you have that money to fall back on. That's just something to keep in mind. So, Eric Anderson, do you have anything else on your mind that you'd like to share? Honestly, it's a wonder that Spinosaurus isn't online. He's most likely high as fuck as always, pothead, because usually he also comes online. Not that I mind, of course. Eric Anderson is laughing. No, but it's true. Usually he's always knocked out because he's always high. I mean, can't remember a single message of him that he ever sent me that didn't start with "I'm high as fuck right now." Every time he sends a message, he comments on one of my videos or he starts chatting. He joins the chat during live streaming. It's always, "Dude, I'm high as fuck right now. Dude, I'm high as fuck. Dude, I'm this. Dude, I'm that." He's always high. So the question is, when isn't he high? And he always has those stupid, he always has those cockamamie stories too, where a beggar gets kicked by someone and then that beggar runs away and then some religious item comes into the equation like a cross or something. It's always something. Hank Hill has joined. Hey, hello, Hank Hill. Rick Anderson says sleeping. Yeah, he is most likely sleeping, but I don't think so. More often than not, he is. He's just knocked out of his fucking. He's just knocked off his rocker. He's just shit faced. He's completely high. Yeah, Hank Hill, you don't appear too often during live streams. You already told me that you don't have too much time on your hands and you join when you can. Well, this is your chance because there are not a lot of people online. As you can see, Eric Anderson is the only one that's chatting. The rest is simply watching in the background. And so, yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them now. And to get it off your chest. And again, to all the people that are watching, thanks for the birthday wishes. It's very much appreciated. Oh, right, now I remember. You also said that you also turned 34 this year. So we're approximately of the same age, approximately. We only differ by a month or so, a couple of months or so. Eric Anderson says seven deadly sins. What about the seven deadly sins? What about the seven deadly sins? Come on, guys, talk to me. Not hearing anything. Eric Anderson, what sin are you? You're asking me which sin I am? Or do you mean which sin embodies me the most? I'm assuming that you mean which sin embodies me the most, right? Or embodies you the most. So, me. It would have to be pride of all of them. Pride coming in first, lust in second place. Hank Hill says, yeah, you mentioned your age maybe about a year ago in passing. How is your Cairo progress going? Everything's going just fine. No real change aside from the updated article, the the very first article you come across when going on my website. So yeah, for the rest, nothing else really. So yeah, um Eric Anderson, why the question? Eric Anderson says, For me, greed is number one, wrath is number two, and lust is number three. Yeah, I forgot about wrath. Honestly, I like all of the, not like, but all of the deadly sins apply to me, of with the exception of gluttony and sloth. Pride, I think anger is one of them. I don't know. Greed, not so. Nah, just pride. Pride is the absolute number one, and lust is number two. So that was it for the rest. I honestly don't really have anything else on my mind that I would like to share with you guys. There's nothing that comes to mind. So yeah, if any of you have any other questions, then yeah, feel free to shoot, 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 shoot. Today's Saturday, September the 7th. Hank Hill says, will you be parting ways with Samael and Sandalphon when your progress is complete? Yeah, I will. I'm not saying unfortunately because it's not unfortunate. I mean, I will miss them, of course, and of course they'll always be there. They're just literally a thought away, and they'll still be working on my behalf, etc. But they are simply the past, and Christ is the present and the future. And it's not just them. I'll be parting ways with practically every spirit that I have an altar to. I'll be parting ways with every spirit I have an altar to. So, are there any other questions you had relating to that, as in me parting ways? Someone I've also haven't seen in a while is Code 919. Hmm. Most likely also busy or something. Eric Anderson says I'm gonna miss Samuel and Sandalphon. Yeah, if you feel that way, imagine how I feel. But yeah, again, um They've already distanced themselves from me. They've already taken a few steps back, one or two steps backwards, and yeah, I rarely even talk to them anymore. Listen, it's all about progress, okay? What has to happen, or what has to be done has to be done. And yeah, like I said, Christ is the present and the future, and they are the past because Cairo does more for me than all of the spirits that I'm working with combined, or all of the spirits that I've worked with combined. And yeah, any of you, again, any of you, I mean, you or Hank Hill, Eric Anderson, do you have anything else on your mind? Eric Anderson says God must feel awful. That's funny. No, he doesn't. Mm. Hank Hill says, did you foresee this path when you first started out? No, Hank Hill, obviously not. I didn't foresee this path at all, but for me, it's an indescribable honor and it pretty much will not get any better than Christ. You know, the very fact alone that it has happened to me is already so indescribably grandiose and such an honor, but I still have a good deal of work to do. So, yeah, so we'll see. Eric Anderson says no means you. What do you mean by no means me? Sorry, Eric Anderson, I'm not following you. What do you mean? Oh, oh, you mean Ankel says he means gosh, you must feel awful. No, I don't, ironically. I just don't. That's why I haven't noticed anything in my behavior, anything, any change in my behavior because it's all for the best. Literally all for the best. So yeah, I'm not going to stand progress in the way, and neither are they. Without without me having to ask them, they automatically without me having to ask them, they automatically start distancing themselves. Right now, Christ is the only one with me. The other two, Samael and Sanofon, they're still there, but they're in the background. Rick Anderson says, I can't hear. What do you mean you can't hear? Huh? You can't hear? Can you hear me now? Hank Hill, can everyone else hear me okay? Okay, Eric Anderson, then the problem lies on your end because everyone can hear me except you, or could hear me except you. But in any case, yeah, you can hear me okay again. So yeah, problem solved. Like I said, they've distanced themselves out of themselves. Okay, they've distanced themselves just out of their own initiative, or they were, I mean, and or they were prompted to do so by Christ. And for the rest, it's all good, no issues. I'm seeing 6 people online now. 6 people on this stream. Hmm. So yeah, honestly, this most likely will be a short live stream because I have honestly nothing else to say. I've already discussed everything that I wanted to discuss in the beginning or from the start. The one that followed me from beginning to end or will be able to follow me from beginning to end is Eric Anderson. Hank Hill, you came online later, so you missed the majority of what I said and what I was discussing. So again, if you guys have any other questions, then just shoot. Otherwise, I am going to stop because I don't really have anything else to say. Honestly, nothing comes to mind. Mind is just drawing a blank. So, what of it? Nothing at all? 7 people are online. More people keep coming, ironically. Eric Anderson says he thinks he's good. Okay. And Hank Hill, what about you? Hank Hill says, when did you first come across Cairo? Right. Nah, you weren't. I already discussed this in a previous live stream, but you were not online, I think, or you haven't watched it. No, I came across Cairo because it's not the first time that I've come across Cairo. I've already seen Cairo, what, I think maybe half a year to a year ago. Eric Anderson says stream 31. Nah, this is stream 42. Hank Hill says my computer is laggy. Okay, listen, in any case, I'm gonna repeat myself. I don't mind. Long story short, I was already familiar with Cairo, but not from an occult perspective or not as an occult technique. It's just that let's just say 2 to 3 weeks ago, Christ, 2.5 weeks ago, Christ appeared to me and he just told me everything that I told you, and that I'll be working with him from now on, and that I don't really have a choice in the matter, etc., etc., etc. The others distanced themselves because they also told me that, yeah, Cairo supersedes all of us combined. Cairo can do more than they combined can do for me, and so on and so forth. And that's the story of it. For the rest, the article already says enough. The article already says enough. Um, so yeah, there you go, Hank Hill. In any case, and nothing else. Eric Anderson says he's good. Eric Anderson says Stream 31 is about Cairo. Oh, that's what you meant. Yeah, that's true, but I've mentioned it in multiple streams. Oh, that's what you meant. Okay. Yeah, in any case, that's what it was like. And for the rest, I have nothing else. Eric Anderson says he's good. Hank Hill, do you have any other questions? Any other questions whatsoever? Do you have any other questions whatsoever, Hank Hill? Saturday. Okay, Hank Hill, listen. Any other questions? Any other questions, Hank Hill? Okay. Well, in any case, I'm going to close off now. See you guys another time. Bye. Bye bye.